From Lewis in the Black Horse Pub. I shut myself off. Good morning. Welcome to Mirador Television. I'm Keith Hayes, and we're broadcasting from the Black Horse in Lewes. That's in East Sussex in the United Kingdom. A warm welcome to those people overseas who some people get out of bed at the most remarkable time to join us. We're grateful and we welcome you. And we hope that we provide you with some information and entertainment. Well, it actually should tell you the weather. It's 11 degrees, or it's going to be 11 degrees again today. That's quite warm for this time of year. The winds will be light, so there's no chill factor. And we're going to get some light rain. The rain, right now, it's going to start about in an hour's time. Well, it should be starting now, but it's not. The skies are a bit grey, though. But the really heavy stuff will start about 11 o'clock this morning. And we'll carry on through most of the day, I'm afraid. But the temperature will stay okay, and the winds will be light, so it shouldn't be too uncomfortable. Indeed, it should not. So what we'll do, you're looking through the window of the Black Horse Pub at Western Road, the road that runs past the pub. And as you can see, fairly busy again this morning. Both pedestrian traffic and the dear old buses, John Henty's favourite vehicle. And all in all, reasonably busy, not overpopulated. We'll dive in and look at the newspapers, the front pages, and see what we make of the news. It's one of our quiet days, a Tuesday. We don't have a lot of guests. Yesterday was a cracker of a show. If you didn't see it live, take the time to find it on YouTube or Facebook. Or I believe we're on Instagram too. Anyway, find it. It was very not a bad day. Right, okay. The I newspaper its banners is I became a child bride to escape ISIS. Now I clear its mines. As Molly Blackall speaks to people about life under terror regime in Iraq. Money, state pension pledge to cost taxpayers £49 billion more on triple lock. Warnings of faster rises to state pension age. A think tank says triple lock will squeeze out help for working families with children. Plus, in your 30s, say goodbye to retirement. Oh, well, those are all the bad headlines in the eye. But the headline is UK cabinet clash on how to fight China spy threat. Many of Tuesday's papers react to China being formally accused by the British government of being behind malicious cyber campaigns against MPs and the UK's elections watchdog. The Iron newspaper says the cabinet is divided on how to respond to the threat, adding that MPs who have reportedly been targeted are underwhelmed by the response to sanction 2 individuals and 1 Chinese company. China has constantly denied accusations of espionage and wrongdoing. Ooh. Yes, I must say it's not much of a response. The Daily Express. SAS hero Bronco Lane, who truly lived the motto, "Who dares wins," dies at 78. And Vanessa Phelps, "I wept for our courageous and darling girl Kate." There you are. That's the soft stuff in the banners. But the headline is Britain turns a blind eye to Beijing's malign activities, says Sir Ian Duncan Smith. Tory MPs, we now must label China a threat to Great Britain. Leading the battle cry for tougher action is former Conservative Party leader Sir Ian Duncan Smith, one of the MPs who was targeted by hackers. The Daily Express says he is calling for the UK to designate China as a threat, as the United States has done. So Ian is a member of the Interparliamentary Alliance on China, which scrutinizes and often criticizes the activities of Beijing. Daily Mail. Nadine, you are a very sexy woman. Call me. Why at 66 men are suddenly telling me I'm so desirable? By Nadine Dorries. Ooh. Beijing hacked deals and 40 million voters spied on MPs. The UK's response is compared to taking a wooden spoon to a gunfight. Fury at feeble rebuke to China. Rishi Sunak was last night under mounting pressure to finally get tough with China. The Daily Mail says there is fury over the UK's feeble rebuke to China in its headline. The paper says Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is under mounting pressure to finally get tough with China. I have to say, I am getting the impression that Rishi waits for an uproar and then acts, rather than acts and creates an uproar. Oh dear. The Times. China set to be declared a threat to national security. The Times reports that Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Dowden has indicated ministers are poised to declare China a threat to national security, following revelations of the scale of cyber attacks. The paper also features a photo of a tractor convoy outside Westminster on Monday as part of a farmers' protest over the government's foods production policy. The protest follows months of similar demonstrations in Europe. Yes, France was almost brought to a standstill by tractors, by farmers. That's not unusual, though. The Daily Mirror. The Kate effect. Huge surge in web cancer checks after the princess's statement. The Daily Mirror continues its coverage of the reactions to Catherine, the cancer diagnosis of the Princess of Wales. Alongside a photograph of Catherine, the paper says her video message last week has triggered a spike in online searches about the disease. The Kate Effect is its headline. The Sun, Princess's Message of Hope. Brave Kate saves lives. The Sun says Catherine's brave message will save lives, according to NHS England's cancer chief. Her revelation has inspired hundreds of thousands of people to get checked, the paper says. Hang on, we had a little ping there from somebody. Well, let's see. No, nothing important. Right, okay, The Guardian. Israel isolated after the United Nations Security Council demands Gaza ceasefire. The Guardian turns its attention to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. The paper says Israel has become isolated from its allies after the United Nations Security Council called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza for the first time since war began in October. It has also demanded the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages taken by Hamas. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the United States, in exercising its veto, has abandoned its previous position, which directly linked a ceasefire to a hostage release. Right, and our MP is urging tougher action. The Metro. Woman 74 arrested after crash. Drink drive death of our angels. A photo of a smiling 5-year-old Linnea who died with her mother, Destiny, after they were hit by a car in Plymouth. It's Metro's image. A 74-year-old woman has been arrested on suspicion of causing death by careless driving and driving while unfit through drink or drugs. The Daily Telegraph. Secret court for speeding and TV fines must end. The tractor convoy is also pictured on the front page of the Daily Telegraph, but the paper is leading with calls from magistrates to overhaul secretive court hearings used for prosecutions on speeding, TV license offences, and truancy. The papers say they have resulted in vulnerable people being prosecuted behind closed doors in absentia or without legal representation. I find that a bit naughty. If we have a court system and we say we have open government, we don't do things covertly. The Financial Times. Boeing Chief Calhoun to step down in shake-up after door panel safety crisis. Wow. The Financial Times reports that the CEO and chair of airline and manufacturing giant Boeing will be stepping down in an attempt to draw a line under a deeper crisis over the firm's safety record. It comes after an unused door blew out of a Boeing 737 MAX jet in January, shortly after takeoff. The Daily Star. Don't panic, the vampires and zombies do walk among us. A boffin reveals a slightly disturbing news. A good old star, bound to get us going. The Daily Star is urging people not to panic, despite what it describes as vampires and zombies walking among us. Psychological disorder expert Dr. Brian Sharples, or Sharpless, has told the paper there are people who have a desire to drink blood for sexual pleasure, as well as people who believe their organs are rotting from the inside. Oh dear! Well, I think that the papers are right to highlight the cyber attack, because there is no question that digging into a country's secrets, but even worse, digging into its citizens' secrets, because we are assured when we give people information, particularly financial information, that it is being guarded closely, and it's only for them to find that some Mandarin in China is hoovering up what we think, and what we do, and what we say, and who we are, is a bit worrying. And first of all, why the hell do they need it? And secondly, if they're getting it, and they could wreak all sorts of havoc, particularly if they are good at hacking into our computer systems, and they seem to be. So we've got a problem that the newspapers are highlighting today. Now, while we're on it, I have said to you, Mirador is clean. It's pure. Nobody can say that they are completely without bias. Our childhood and our backgrounds and so on make us take a point of view. Point of view is fine. But you put it up as a point of view. Yes, for people to say, I don't agree with that, or here's what I think about it, but you don't get dogmatic. And what's happening at the moment is that with the use of the computers, the way they are with social media, is it says 3 in 4 people are afraid of speaking out over fears of being attacked. Now, I know that I know people, and I've suffered it myself, where people on the internet, they holier than now. You who cast the first stone comes to mind from these three. It's not just trolls. It's if somebody gets a bee in their bonnet, then they think that everybody should know, and they should know that they think this about it. And that is beginning to terrorize our population. It's shooting ourselves in the foot. Britons are being cowed into silence for fear of being attacked over their views. 3/4 of the respondents into a survey, including teachers, counselors, and academics, told a government advisor they were being forced to self-censor after being bombarded by threats and intimidation, creating a chilling effect on freedom of speech. Some fear for their lives and the safety of their families, while others have had to leave their jobs or move house. The thing is, it's called A Study in Social Cohesion by Dame Sarah Khan. Yet in many cases, they have been let down by the authorities, with some politicians being told that abuse goes with the job. In one example, an RE teacher forced into hiding in West Yorkshire after showing pupils a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad was not even considered a crime victim, and no one was arrested for hounding him. 3 years on, he is still in hiding and suffering from PTSD. What's that? Post-traumatic system disorder. Yeah. I find this despicable that we can live in a society where we are afraid. And I must say that some people can make you afraid through these things. The other thing is that people do take positions which are biased, but then they make them public. I mean, the common one is against the Jews. Or he's Jewish. I mean, all sorts of things that they say about Jewish people. Yeah, Jewish people are actually quite frugal and know how to look after their money. But if everybody did that, they wouldn't stand out as people who understood finance. But because they understand that and they follow that, they are tarred with, they are usurers. They are Shylocks, and nothing can be further from the truth. And many Jewish people who are delightful. Now, next is the people like the Echo Warriors, who are absolutely adamant that they understand and know what the problems are. Well, what they did yesterday or Monday is closed down the British Museum. It was forced to close its doors at 2:45 as Echo Warriors forced by massing outside and stopping people from going in or shouting or screaming at them. Now, this is not acceptable. It is not acceptable. In fact, it's downright bloody ridiculous. And they should be locked up. It may have a good point, but that is not the way to go about making the stand. The Palestinian issue, saying silly. Gender issues have become downright stupid. And to our eternal shame, we allowed a professor at the University of Sussex to be hounded out of office because of her views. That's not on. It's not on. And anybody who was part of that hounding and thinks they're educated has got another bloody thing coming. I bet you they don't put it on their CV. But we have been slow to, in fact, the authorities in many ways, add to bias. I've often said we are governed by a party of ratios. We must have X number of women MPs. We must have X number of gay MPs. We must have X number of this, that, and the other MPs. Until in the end, all we've got is a bunch of ratios. What about excellence? What about knowing how to do the job? How about ability? Oh, no, there's no room for that. And it's getting our society into one hell of a mess. One hell of a mess. I just find it very difficult to go along. And, you know, favoritism in the workplace, and giving jobs because you know somebody who knows somebody is the very start of poisoned thinking. When I was in Kosovo, I would hire, or at least I would advertise for a position, and somebody who's already got a job would come to me and say, "I understand that you've hired so and so." I don't know. We just put the ad in the paper. Well, so and so has been telling everybody that they've got the job here, and it was because they had been told by somebody who thought they got influence, they would get it. There's no transparency there. There has to be transparency in the workplace. Otherwise, what we'll end up with is bus drivers who can't drive, doctors who can't doctor, pilots who can't pilot. Oh, the mind boggles. We must not show favoritism when it comes to work. It's very difficult not to show bias. But equally, it's very easy to let it get out of control. There's been smear campaigns in English towns that say murder transgender people. Now, I think that particular groups, quite often in defending themselves, then press for unreasonable conditions in stating their case. But put that aside, and I have no problem with a transgender person who simply accepts what they are, gets on with it, puts up with some of the hostility. But when they try to justify it and suggest they should have special conditions, special dispensations, then no, I've had it. I won't go along with it. But I also don't want to fire somebody or accuse somebody of something to be told that I'm being biased. I want to make sure that I'm taking the action based on the facts as they're presented and their degree of harm. Other than that, anybody is welcome in my team. But there have been some dreadful, dreadful situations where people have been hounded out, not only of their jobs, but their homes. And it is not on. It is not on. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back with more programs. Toodles.